aspect of online public speaking. It's a skill that is absolutely crucial in today's world. And to teach, train, and uplift us in that regard, we have a very special individual here with us today. He is an engineering graduate of the University of Moratuwa, a well-renowned physics and chemistry tutor. And most importantly for today's session, he brings in a heap of experience as a champion of many speech contests, a past president, and the current area director of the Toastmasters International Fraternity, where many great public speakers were made. Therefore, I have immense pleasure in inviting our resource person and the brilliant speaker himself, Mohammed Yasir. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Dilhan, for that overwhelmingly wonderful introduction. And on a Sunday evening, I would have not been in any other place but this, sharing my experience and knowledge with such a wonderful crowd. And this is the first time I've heard of Rotaract clubs over the past years since I've been at the university, but this is the first time I'm collaborating with a Rotaract club. So this is definitely a very special moment in my life. And I should thank Dilhan for providing this opportunity and having the confidence in me, and also the organizing committee. Thank you very much, guys. I owe you a lot. Okay, fine. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you all are doing great. And I hope you all had a wonderful week and gearing up for the next week tomorrow, but we all are stuck at homes, whether we like it or not. Anyways, one of the burning questions, one of the most talked about topics is public speaking. So that's what we are going to discuss today. Now, before we start the session, I went through all your responses for the questionnaire we had within our registration link, and thank you very much for your responses, because we wanted to know, we want to do a groundwork before we get into the session, just to know about the audience and what their requirements are. Fine. So before initiating, I'd like to see as many faces as possible. Now, I'm not insisting you to do this. If you are comfortable with turning on your videos, I would really like to see a few videos turned on, because then that's when I can keep the interaction going. If not, I'll be talking to myself and I will not know whether you all are there. People might think that I'm a crazy person talking to myself. So that's my humble request. If possible, please, if you are comfortable enough, please turn on the videos so that we can have a very interactive and very interactive session, so that it will not be very mechanical. Fine. Now, talking about public speaking, I'll just start off with my life, with my experience. Back at school, I was good with my studies. I was always good with my grades. I was okay. I was active in sports and everything. But one thing I dreaded the most, one thing I never dared to do, was delivering a speech. Because how many of you, just put your hands up or give me a reaction? How many of you are, scared when I say when you ask to deliver a speech? Just give me a response. You can put your hands up, give me a thumbs up, whatever it is. Okay, I see a few hands going up. All right. Okay. Fine, thank you very much. So let's keep this keep this consistent, right? So when I ask a question, you guys respond, so that I will know. I know that I'm not just talking to a laptop. I talk to a set of wonderful people. Fantastic, right? Thank you very much. Now, see, it's quite natural. It's quite natural that we are scared. We are anxious to deliver a speech. Why not? Because this is the most feared thing in the whole world. So can I get some responses? What do you think is the most feared thing in the whole world? You can unmute and speak, or you can leave some responses in the chat. Let's keep it a bit interactive. What do you think is the most feared thing in the whole world? It could be, heights or depth. It could be death, fire. I don't know. It could be anything. It could be corona, whatever it is. What do you think? Or it could be your girlfriend. It could be your wife. It could be your mother-in-law. It could be your sectional head, your principal, your class teacher. Okay, so Gayatri says stage phobia. stage phobia. All right. So I'm asking, what do we fear the most? What do we fear the most? Fine. Good answer. Thank you, Gayatri. The thing people fear the most is the fear of embarrassment. It's the fear of embarrassment. No one wants to get embarrassed. You don't want to speak because you don't want to get embarrassed. It's not the phobia you have towards speaking. Like, there are two sides to it, but we all have to understand the fact that it's about embarrassment. Now, if I ask you, okay, why don't you want to do a speech? 99% of you will tell me, what if I don't do well? What if I stutter? What if I get stuck? What if I forget? Would they judge me? Wouldn't they laugh at me? Won't I become a laughing stock? Won't I become a joke? Isn't that the question we all have? That is the exact question I had in my head back when I was a school kid. I wasted my time from grade 6 to grade 12, I think grade 13, because I was forced to do a speech. Until that is the golden period of someone's life to improve their skills. Now, if you have siblings, if you have neighbors, if you have relatives who are in grade 6 to grade 11, please ask them to get out of their shells, explore more, and develop their skills, because I missed it in my life. So I'm telling you, I don't want anyone else to miss it, because that's the time where we are so free. We don't have any major educational commitments. We have O-levels in grade 11, we have A-levels in grade 13. That's the time we just chill, we just have fun during when the term tests are around the corner. We just open our books and study, just chill. It was such a wonderful time of our lives. So we don't have much responsibilities where we could focus on our skills. But unfortunately, in my case, I was so scared of public speaking. I never wanted to participate in any sort of speech contest. I was okay with essay contests. I was okay with quiz contests, because no one sees me. I write something on the paper, someone corrects it. Yeah, I might get a place, I might not. But you go in front of an audience, you speak, you embarrass yourself. Come on. How do you recover that? That's the problem I had. And then when I was in grade 12, we had the strictest English teacher, Mrs. Pereira, at our school. And she asked me to do a speech. And it was a matter of life or death. If I say no to her, she would literally, kill me. That's what I thought for a moment. And then I was forced to do that. I wrote a speech, I practiced it, and I delivered it. And that day, that moment, my friends, changed my whole life, changed my entire life. Right. So that is the power of public speaking. And today we are here to talk about that. And that gave me a new identity. I don't go by the label engineer anymore. Wherever I go, I introduce myself as a Toastmaster. That's the identity public speaking gave me. Public speaking gives you opportunities you might have never ever dreamt of when you were a kid. Fine. So let's see how can we enhance our skills when it comes to public speaking. Fine. So I have a presentation, and let me right. I think the sharing option is disabled. Dilhan, if you could enable that.
Yes, Lorraine, can you look into that, please?
All right. Until it's enabled. Now, whether we like it or not, unfortunately, these days we are stuck in front of a laptop. We are confined to a screen. We are confined to a screen. We are not fortunate enough to go out and speak at forums. We are in front of a phone or a laptop, for that matter. So today we will be mainly focusing on how we can establish a great online presence, how we can improve our public speaking in a virtual platform. But trust me, public speaking is an art. You can't just improve it overnight. You play cricket, you play football, you learn to draw, you learn to swim. Nothing happens overnight. It takes rigorous practice of days and weeks and months and sometimes years, sometimes decades. Public speaking is also just like that. If something is very difficult to achieve, then the journey is going to be really tough, but the journey is definitely worth it. Public speaking is just like that. And they say, what do they say? If you have never had something great in your life before, you have to do something great you have never done in your life before. So that's the kind of step you should be ready to keep if you want to improve yourself in public speaking. All right. Yes. Thank you very much. And right, I'd appreciate if you can give me a thumbs up or an indication if you can see my screen. Awesome. Thank you very much, Lorraine. Fine. So virtual voice, that's the name of this presentation, and it's a webinar basically on public speaking. And today we'll be covering six aspects. There will be six categories. Six categories. So the first category is best practices for virtual communication, and then the strategies to alleviate public speaking anxiety. And the next one is best practices to retain audience attention. Next, number 4, body language and vocal variety. Number 5, strategies to reduce vocal distractions. And finally, we will be having a question and answering session. But I have to be absolutely clear about one thing, that is, each of these topics can be analyzed and we can discuss about them, we can talk about them for hours and hours. But today, we are going to do a quite summarized version to give you an overall idea. And if you have questions, you are welcome to ask. Right, so before I proceed, anyone from the organizing committee, how long do I have? How long do we have? So it's 7:15 now. Can I go till 8 maybe?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, yes. All right, perfect. Fine, so let's keep time also in our minds, because time management is vital. Fine, so first of all, let's start with the best practices for virtual communication. Now, like I said, whether we like it or not, we are stuck in a virtual world. And now we are blaming a pandemic, saying that life is worthless. What is the meaning of life? Everything has become so boring. But if you're going to keep complaining about things, and when this pandemic is over, you would have regressed so much that you would have lost all your abilities, the abilities you had, the skills you had before the pandemic. So let's not blame the pandemic, because this situation is common for everyone. You're not alone in this. So if you want to be a great species, you need to know how to adapt. The species who do not adapt, they disappear. Simple as that. So how do we adapt to this virtual world? Now, these are some of the practices we can use to enhance our online presence. Right? I know it's very cluttered. There's so many information. Now let's consider them one by one. Now, first of all, treat it like any other meeting. Now, if you see me, I'm dressed up. I'm wearing a watch, I'm wearing a tie, I'm wearing my Toastmasters pin. I'm even wearing a proper trouser. The only thing I'm not wearing is the shoes. And why did I do that? I could have just come up, appeared with a t-shirt. And I could have, I'm at the comfort of my home. I could have just chilled, but I wanted to respect the invitation of Candid Road Track Club. I wanted to honor the confidence they had in me. So I'm dressed up. That's exactly what you have to do. Whether it's an online meeting or an in-person meeting, we have to be professionals. Now, if it is an informal meeting, maybe if it's a get-together among your friends, of course, yeah, come on, you don't have to wear a tie and everything. But if it is a professional setup, it can be a meeting or a professional meeting, meeting with your office, subordinates, your seniors. So just treat it as a normal meeting and be well prepared, be well dressed. And let's try to show some professionalism, which will add more quality, more value to the meeting, the time you spend here. So that's the first thing I wanted to share with you. And then always think about your background. Now, if you see few of us who have turned on our cameras, if you see Dilhan, he is using a virtual background. Perfect. And it says, I think, Candid Road Track Club. And it's a very clear background. Even Lorraine, yes, it's relatively all right. That's how it has to be. And I also have found a place where the background is empty. I don't have any distractions. It's a white background, and that is exactly what you have to do. Now, I know everyone doesn't have the comfort of a very spacious home. That's all right. But I think every one of us can find a wall at our house. So you can place your laptop or your camera in front of that wall, so you can make sure that there are no distractions behind you. Now, trust me, a very interesting thing happened. Can I know if there are any Toastmasters in here? I know Dilhan is there, Mafaz is there, so I see a few. Sorry, I see a few Toastmasters. 2 years back, there was this speech contest where it was a speech contest among Toastmasters in South India and Sri Lanka. So it's a big crowd, and it was the semi-finals. And there was this Toastmaster called Shamraj who actually won the contest. And I was watching his video during the semi-finals, and his speech was so good. But yet, when he was delivering his speech, I could see his cupboard and all the cabinet and everything, a lot of objects behind him. But his speech was a killer speech. So I just humbly texted him and I said, your speech was awesome, but if you could do something about your background, I think it will be really useful. And you know what he had done? I was just a rookie Toastmaster. No one has heard of me. I'm just a nobody. But he was so humble enough. He took my suggestion. And when I watched his video during the finals, he had put a white cloth to cover all those objects. So it was completely white behind him. And I was so happy to see how humble these people are. He was a champion. He's so renowned, but still he took that advice and he changed the background, and it added so much value to his speech. So that's something we all can do, isn't it? Go for a clean background, and that will definitely enhance your online presence. And next is your technology. Now, always they ask us to log into our meetings at least 15 minutes early. You check your camera, you check your mic, whether you are audible or visible, and especially with the presentations, you see whether it's working, you guys share, all those things must be clarified. Because if technology fails, then there's a big problem. And one more very important thing is your data. Now, if you have an important, you might have to skip watching Netflix, or you might have to skip downloading a movie, or you might have to skip watching few Americans Got Talent YouTube videos, because you need to have a proper solid internet connection. But Sri Lanka, as I know, has one of the worst internet connection in the whole world. So I don't know. So there are certain times it's out of our control, but still we should try our best to make sure that everything is properly arranged. If I don't want to name any, networks. If the connection is low from their end, then you are not to be blamed. But if you are going to lose your connection because you have not paid your bill or your data is over, then you will have to take the blame. So make sure that you have a proper internet connection. You check your technology, mic, camera, everything, and you're perfectly ready. And then lighting. Now, this is the most challenging thing most of us have during online meetings, the lighting. Fine. Now, I'll show you the difference. Now, I'm using an artificial light here because it's dark in this room. So if I turn it off, see the difference it makes. It's like a ghost speaking to you. You don't see me, what I'm doing. You don't see me. But I turn on my light. It makes a big difference. Now, the glare is too much. The glare is too much. So I reduce the brightness and I go for a brightness like this, a true brightness like this. So you can also, because sometimes these bright lights at our home, so a small investment to get a proper lamp of music, and in that I can increase and reduce the brightness as it requires, and make sure that it's not too much, neither too less. It's perfect. I'll show you some examples later on so that you can do the comparison. So the lighting is very, very important. The reason is your presence is so limited. Now look, this is all you see. This is all you see. And face is something so prominent during an online interaction. So if you don't have enough lighting, now if I speak like this, the emotions, the expressions I want to transform to you will never not resonate, will not efficiently flow through this camera. Therefore, make sure that your lighting is. I recommend, I think phone cameras are better. So it's up to you, but whether you phone camera, if you can light, then I think it will definitely enhance your online presence. And then moving on, then you have the microphone. Now, this is not for the person who is speaking. If I mute my microphone, then I will sound like a lunatic. No, it's not about the speaker. It's about the listeners, the audience. Now, when someone is speaking, you have to make sure that your mics are on mute. Shouting at the daughter, and daughter's shouting, please let me study, I'm having an online class finally, today only I didn't sleep, I woke up on time, please let me be. We hear funny things like that. So sometimes it's funny, but let's say that you have a very serious discussion with your office mates, and then someone at your home comes and screams, it's over. So the professionalism, it's lacking there. So if you are an audience, make sure that your mic is on mute, and when you're supposed to speak, please don't forget to unmute it when you want to ask a question, and when the presenter wants you to speak something, please feel free to unmute and speak. So this is something we all have taken for granted. Now you attend a meeting, you attend a lecture, in-person lectures, the teacher can look at you, point at you and ask you a question. But now we turn on our cameras, we turn off our mics. My network is poor, I can't answer. Please don't take it for granted, because you embrace the challenges, the less mute your microphone speaking, but when your turn comes, next, eliminate noise. Now I have come to a room where no one is there. I have locked my door. I'm not going to let anyone enter. I don't know whether my cat is going to come here. I hope not. But silent, no disturbances. If you are near a television or a radio or whatnot, whatever it is, if I speak, if there's a loud noise in the background, you will not hear me saying anything. Now silent, so you can hear. Therefore, it is the message gets transformed perfectly. Noise, eliminating the distraction, and then contact with your camera. Meetings are so great. You know why? Simultaneously, now how many participants do we have? There are 69. I am making eye contact 69 of you, each and every one. Now, if you are a agony contact, when we go to speech contests, we have to look at the judges, look at the audience, and connect to them. We have to put in, we have to be conscious. I looked at this side, then I have to look at this side. I have to look at people who are in the back row. I have to look at the people who are in the middle. But here, you don't have to put any effort. All you have to do is look at the camera. You're not looking at that one circle. You're looking at 70 people. Right now, I'm looking at 70 people. Maybe it's streaming live, maybe more. That's the advantage of online meetings. So don't take it for granted. Always look at the camera, which connect. Your speech becomes heartfelt when you speak to your. I'm looking at my slide and speaking. I'm looking at my slide and speaking to you. I'm not. So that's so horrible. So it's just camera. Do to that if you are a speaker. If there is a purpose, now turn your eye for a purpose, because you might, when you are telling a story, these dialogues around, it's okay. Make sure that you don't take your eyes away from that. These are few of the tips and techniques presence. Now I have what do you call that? Use gestures. The latter stages of our presentation, of our session, but online meeting, just like other meetings, dress well. If someone someone else is speaking, turn comes, don't forget to unmute and speak. To a proper lighting, because without proper lighting, they can't see your expressions, they can't connect with you, your speech becomes unfortunate. So that you sit at a calm and quiet and before you start the meeting, make sure you camera is working properly, make sure your laptop has full charge, make sure your laptop. But today I could not not be able to share the so your presentation with your slides for you, and always be mindful about your background, no distractions, and look and speak, because you can make eye contact with even 1,000 people in an online meeting, which is impossible in a physical in-person meeting. Fine, that's a question. Okay. All right. Looks like I am having a few. I'm having a connection issue. Is it?
Yes, it was going on for a few moments, but now I think it is back to normal.
Okay. All right. No, it's okay. Right.
Yeah, now it seems okay.
All right. Okay, fine. I said, but don't worry. I have enough. What do you call that? Data. My data got renewed today, so I have enough data. But it's the problem with the network. Fine. Thank you very much. Please keep me informed in the chat if you feel like the connection is a bit out. Fine. And then this is something you can do. Go for a proper light. Light with me. It's a table lamp, which you go for a good camera like this. In yourself and properly using lighting. Now see, the first and I think it's something where people will be walking around and the background is very important. It's a place somewhere where the person has no eye contact whatsoever. Poor lighting. That is going to be.
Hello, Yasira, it's lagging a little bit now. Sorry for interrupting, but yeah, could you check your connection or there's a little bit of lag.
The slide I'm showing the improper practices and
yes, the slide is visible. It's just the voice that's a little breaking up.
Okay, all right. It says my connection is on. Now, what if I turn on my video?
Excuse me, sir. Your video is so stuck, I think.
Sorry guys, can you hear me now?
Yes, much more clear. Yes.
Okay, right. No, right. We'll do it this way. I will be turning off my video. All right. Right. So, Bilham, please confirm if when you can see the presentation.
Yes, the presentation is visible. Yeah.
Okay, fine. Right. So, thank you very much for being patient now. If you see these images, you can see some improper practices of online. If you see the first image on the top left corner, you can see this room, and above the there I see is the light behind my head, then the how about now? Can you see the screen?
Yes, yes. Can see the screen, but the voice was lagging for a little bit before.
Now is it okay?
Now it seems to be fine for the moment. Yes.
Okay, fine. So let's continue. If there's any, if there's a lagging, if there's a lag, please let me know. All right. Fine.
Sure,
now,
sure.
Yeah, and so these are some poor, what do you call that, lightings and the placement of your camera. That's very important. Now, the camera, your eye level and the camera level must be horizontally in the same level. That's when you will be properly poised. Now you see on the top right corner, you see a proper practice. You have perfect eye contact, you have proper lighting, and the framing is also perfect. And at the bottom, you see incorrect framings. Sometimes people have their phones in their hands and they look down and they speak, which is incorrect. And the proper framing, you see on the right side, you see two proper framings. Now, when you speak, your voice should come straight. I mean, if you look at this person, the voice is projected straight, and that's when the voice will be powerful. But when you look down or when you look up too much, then your voice doesn't get projected powerful. So your speech loses its value. So next time when you attend an online meeting and when you turn on your videos, make sure that you have sufficient lighting or proper lighting, proper framing, proper placement of your device, and proper eye contact. Fine. So moving on to the next slide, the audio. Now, talking about the audio in an online meeting, that's also something very crucial. Going for a good mic, it will be really advantage. That is also another great investment you're going to have. You're going to, it's an investment worth for life. And in Zoom, you have these options where you can choose the best option. You choose the microphone as your standard, the microphone, and then you use the speakers. For speakers, you use your headphones once again. So you do these adjustments. Now, in Zoom, you have this audio icon. Near that, there is a small arrow which goes up, and there you find these options. And another very important practice we need to follow is the share sound option. Now, in online meetings, sometimes what we do is we turn on music or whatever an audio it is, and we try to place it near our mic, and we try to play it, which doesn't give out a good quality of sound. But if you play the sound in your device after sharing, after choosing the share sound option, then the quality of the sound output will be absolutely great. So next time when you want to share an audio, make sure that you have shared your sound through Zoom, and then you play the audio in your device. Fine. So these are some practices we need to follow in order to enhance our online presence. All right, just to be clear, Dilhan, how is it going? Is it all right?
Yeah, everything is crystal clear. No worries.
Thank you very much. Fine. All right, next. Now, there was a question in the questionnaire. There was a question in your registration link about what is the major challenge you have when it comes to public speaking. So that is this. That is what we're going to strategies to alleviate public speaking anxiety. Fine. Now, talking about public speaking anxiety, just like I said, it's the fear of embarrassment that we have. Okay, we can put it as fear of public speaking too. One of the most dreaded aspects in the entire world. Now, this fear, this anxiety has two parts to it. This anxiety has two parts to it. The first one is physical. By physical, I mean it's your mouth, it's the words, it's the difficulty you have in speaking. Now, let me put it in this way. Now, raise your hands if you are a student from an international school, please. Raise your hands if you're, or give me some kind of reaction if you are a student from an international school. Right, I see Dilhan's hand going up, and I see Faraz. Okay, Shania, fine. So we have very few of them, right? Fine. And now, how many of you are from a government school? How many of you schooled at a government school? Please put your hands up. Right. So I can see quite a few hands going up. I see quite a few hands going up. Fine. So some of us come from English-speaking backgrounds. Now, some of us speak in English at home, at schools, at our working places, right? So automatically we have the fluency. We are well versed with the language, English language. But some of us come from backgrounds where we very rarely use English in our day-to-day life. We just use English during our period. We very rarely speak in English. The teacher tries his or her best to make us speak in English. We don't do that. At some schools, English period is also taught in mother language, either Sinhala or Tamil. So that's the problem majority of Sri Lankans have. That is the fluency, the problem with the language itself. Now, to improve that, what you can do is you can try. Now, it comes with a language is like a building. Language is like a building. If you want to build a bigger building, you need to have a lot of bricks. Bricks are like the words. So you learn more words, you have more bricks, you can build a larger building, just like that. So we need to put an effort. Try to learn words, but by words I don't mean these big, difficult, complicated words. Simple words which we use in day-to-day life. Now today I'm trying to keep it. I'm keeping it very simple. I'm not going with all these jargons and complicated words. I want to keep it simple so that every one of you can understand what I'm saying. Isn't that the purpose of this session? Whatever I say, you should be able to understand that, and then you should be able to implement that in your upcoming adventures. So for that, we have to improve our vocabulary with at least the commonly used words, and then you can try speed reading. Now what you can do is you can take a piece of text and you can try reading it fast. You can try reading it fast and see how fast you are reading it, and also you can record yourself. You can record yourself and you keep doing it over and over and over and over again, and then you will get used to the words, English words, because sometimes we can speak but we are slow in speaking. So we need to train our mouth, train our throat, so that the English words flow fluently. For that we need practice. So speed reading is something you can do. To read the same set of text, don't have these complicated words in it. Words you will not know how to pronounce it. You will be able to only pronounce it halfway, then you are stuck. So let's go for a paragraph with simple words in it, and then try reading it fast and see how you can improve your words. And then we have these language apps. There are a lot of, I think there is an app called Ori. Likewise, there are different apps these days. You can download them and you can practice with the trainers or automated trainers. And you have these softwares where you speak and you get the feedback. I tried one, Ori. I think it's really good. You speak something and you get a feedback. So it's like you are not exposing yourself to an audience, to a large crowd. It's only you and that, software. So you can be yourself, you can expose your flaws, and you can make mistakes and learn from that. And the next aspect of it is the psychological aspect of it. Now, you might be really fluent in English. You can speak in English with anyone, but when it comes to public speaking, you are nervous, you are shy, you are scared of getting embarrassed. Now, how do we get rid of that? That is where the psychological aspect comes in. Now, for that, there is no remedy whatsoever. The only remedy is you have to practice. You will never become a great speaker if you don't speak. There's no other option, my friends. There's no magic to improve public speaking other than you put yourself in that position where you have to deliver speeches. So you try to find places where you can have conversations in English. Now, at my university, I had friends who would go to professors, who would go to lecturers, and who would speak in Sinhala or Tamil for that matter. Now, that is a place where we can try speaking in English, because all our lessons were taught in English. But even there, most of us were reluctant to speak in English, which is very unfortunate. So whenever an opportunity presents, you take that opportunity and speak in English. Please do not worry about how good you are. Every great speaker once was a beginner. So don't worry about how good you are. Just speak to people. I'm talking about conversations, not delivering speeches. Day-to-day life. With your friends, try it. With your friends, Machan, why don't we speak in English for some days? You can try it. So it's like we sometimes treat English like a foreign language, and if we speak in English, will we become like Western people? Will we become aliens? Now, people have a very awkward mindset up towards English. We don't have to think of English in a negative way. I mean, it's just a language. It's just a language, a beautiful language. If you learn that language, you can connect with many people all around the world. With the online setup now, the virtual world, you can connect with anyone in the world, but a language is going to be the problem. So you try to find places where you can speak in English more, and you have to find a supportive platform. Now, you need to know the areas where you can improve and learn and grow. For that, I have a suggestion. That is this place called Toastmasters International. How many of you have heard of Toastmasters International? Can I see a raise of hands, please? If you have heard of Toastmasters International? Right, I can see a few hands going up. Great. So if you have not heard of Toastmasters International, please go check it out. Please go check it out. If you want to know about Toastmasters, you can contact me. I've been a Toastmaster for like 3 years now. It has become a part of my life. I'll be always available for you. That for me, at least for me, from my experience, so far, from what I know, I have not attended any other platforms, unfortunately, but from what I know, this is the best suggestion I have for you, because Toastmasters, the mission itself says, Toastmasters International, it's an organization which helps its members to improve their public speaking and leadership skills while creating a very supportive and positive environment, which will help them to improve their self-confidence and self-growth, personal growth. Now, I'm not promoting Toastmasters here. I wanted to be absolutely clear about this. I wanted to give you a viable, a sustainable, a proper solution. And this is the place, because there you will not be judged. You will get feedback in very positive way, and no one will pressure you to do things. You can do speeches, you can improve yourself in your own pace. And if you are a university students, there are gavel clubs in universities, an affiliation of Toastmasters. You go there, you try, you watch there. You go there and you watch few days. You attend few meetings, you watch what's happening, and you will see how people transform into great speakers starting as beginners. right? Because you need a very supportive environment and you need a place to speak in English and do speeches as well. Now, that place provides you that. In a meeting, you will be able to at least do 3 to 4 speeches some days. Fine. Now, so these are few things you can do to alleviate public speaking anxiety. So one small answer to give you: practice. You need practice. You need to embrace that challenge. You need to embrace that pressure. You need to go through that pressure and you need to grow. For that, one best suggestion I have for you is Toastmasters International, a wonderful place which transforms people's lives. Next, we are going to discuss about how to retain audience attention. Now, this is very important. Now, the problem is when we do sessions, Bilhan, shall I try turning on my video?
Yes, absolutely. Go ahead.
Yeah, let's see. Let's hope that the network will be kind to us. Right, fine. Hello, everyone. Back again. Now, the biggest problem we all have is how do we retain the audience attention? Now, the problem with online meeting is that now I see most of you have turned off your videos, and so it's understandable. Sometimes if everyone turns on their video, there'll be a problem with the data and there'll be a problem with the network, everything. Okay, fine. And some of you are not comfortable turning on your videos. It's okay. But the problem is as a speaker, how am I going to have your attention for 1 hour long? Now it's already 7:50. The time is just flying, but I need to make sure that I have your unwavering attention throughout the session. Now, how do you do that? We all want to know that. If you are doing a 5 to 7 minute speech, it's okay, a small time. But if you want to do a lengthy session and still want your audience to be focused in your session, what are the things you need to do? These are few practices you can adapt, right? Right. Number 1, stories. Now, rather than just giving content after content, information after information, data after data, add a personal touch to your speech. Now, I told how I was forced to do a speech at my school and how my life changed after that. You give a piece of your life, your soul to the audience, make that connection so that they can relate to it. So stories. Now, if you watch TED Talks, how many of you watch TED Talks? Can I see a raise of hands, please? How many of you watch TED Talks? Right, fantastic. You should watch TED Talks. TED Talks, you just go to YouTube and you just type TED, TED, and you will be able to listen to some wonderful speeches. Most of the TED Talks, you will see how the way they connect to the audience is using a story. They use a wonderful story, and it's amazing. Now, I can remember the TED Talk of Peter de Almeida from Cumbio, the TV drama, for the TV series actually. His speech, one of the best speeches I have ever listened to in a TED Talk series. He was telling stories about his mother's bravery, how life was when he was young. It was so captivating, so interesting. Time flies by, and we have so much to grab from it. And when you were small, how did your mother feed you? Your mother fed you, telling you stories. That is how we are connected to stories, at least as Asians, as humans. So try to include 1 or 2 relatable, interesting stories. Now, the story has to go with the speech. It has to be relatable. It has to have a connection. That's important. And then next, questions. Keep asking questions, just like I'm doing. I'm asking questions. I'm getting responses from you, so that we are interactive. Even if it is an in-person meeting, ask questions. What do you think about this? How many of you have attended Toastmasters meeting? How many of you are scared of public speaking? Just keep questioning. So when you ask questions, the audience know that you care about them. So you create that connection. And then humor. Once in a while, you crack a joke. That's a fantastic way. Yes, right. So there's a quick question. In an impromptu, will it be efficient and appropriate to relate personal stories? That is the best way to do an impromptu speech. That is the best way to do an impromptu speech. When you get a topic and an impromptu speech, you start, take a few seconds, you start and say, ladies and gentlemen, and then you tell a story which goes with that topic. and that story should have value. That story should have a cause. Something must have happened, and what was the result of that? And to overcome that challenge, what did you do? So story must have a sequence, and then at the end you give the message. And this is why, my dear friends, every 1,000-mile journey starts with a single step. That is the best way to handle impromptu speeches. Because when you get a topic, instantly when you want to speak, the information doesn't flow. But when you have a story, it's easy. You tell a story, that's the best way, right? And the next one is turning the cameras on. Whose camera is on? The audience. You can request the audience to turn on their cameras so that you can look into their eyes and speak. Now, I feel so good when I see Dilhan or Lorraine or Mafaz. I don't see anyone else. I feel so, it's so refreshing. It's so refreshing, and I feel like I'm not losing them. So if you want to keep the audience attention, it's very important that you see the audience. So you can request them to turn on your cameras, and public speaking is a two-way thing. It is not just the speaker. It's not just the speaker. It is the audience as well. So as audience, we need to support the speaker, because the speaker puts in a lot of it. No, forget about me. A speaker. Imagine it's a beginner speaker. Now, let's say someone wants to do a speech for the very first time. All right, going to speak, and the audience response is so important for that person's confidence boost. If every one of us has turned off our cameras, and what is the inspiration that person is going to have? And if we have turned on our cameras, and if you are just yawning, or if you are just meddling with our phone, that will put that person down. But if we turn on our cameras, and if we agree with him, and if we nod, and if we laugh for his jokes, and if we show the sadness in our faces when he says something sad, to make that connection, it motivates the speaker. So that is another very important way of getting the attention of the audience, that is requesting them, just like I did, to turn on their cameras if it's possible. So these are few things you can do to retain the attention of the audience. Now, when you crack a joke, when you use humor, you have to be a little careful. You can't be offensive. It's always better to put yourself down. Now, whenever I am supposed to talk about myself, whenever I'm supposed to create a joke, I always put myself down. I always talk about how short I am and how miserable my life was when I back at school, and stuff like that, things like that. And it's better to avoid topics which are offensive, especially political topics. We don't want to fight with people unnecessarily. Topics about religions, topics about sex, these things can be offensive in our culture, because in some other cultures it's normal, but our culture, it might offend somebody. So if you trying to be humorous, trying to be entertaining, you don't want to break anyone's hearts, do you? So make sure that you have that limit, and know the audience. Now, if it is your friends, best set of friends, you don't mind, you can speak whatever you want. But if it's a common forum like this, I can't tell any joke I want. I have to respect the audience. So make sure that when you use humor, keep those things in mind. Fine. So next is body language. Body language. Now, unfortunately, in a virtual platform, like I said, our body language is limited. We can't move around much, but still, in the virtual platform also, body language plays a big role. Now, let me quickly summarize this. Now, posture. The way you sit, it's very important. The way you sit, the way you stand, the way you present yourself should resonate confidence. It should motivate, elevate the audience. If I sit like this, it's horrible, right? So I need to make sure that I have that posture, as you can see in the diagram. Present yourself confident, strong personality. So that posture, that's what you call posture, the way you present yourself, always a confident posture. And then the expressions, it's very important that's it. That's when the lighting comes in handy. In public speaking, they say the percentages might vary in different, different platforms, websites. They say around three-quarter of your speech is your body. You speak with your body. Only around 25%, you speak with your mouth, you speak with your words. So that's how body language is, that's how much body language is impactful. Imagine 75%. So expression is one of that. You have to show the emotions you want to deliver, and your emotion, your facial expression, and the things you say, your words must be in sync. Now, when I say something happy, I should show that I'm happy. Sri Lanka won a match finally. When I'm sad, Sri Lanka have been losing matches over and over again. But back in the days, we were winning matches always. We were a champion side, but unfortunately. And when you're angry, these idiots, they waste our money, they waste tax-based money, and they play like this. So irresponsible. See, when you're angry, you express that. And that will come in handy when you tell a story. Because when you tell a story, stories are about emotions, stories are about characters, stories are about the conversations you have. So if you want to give life to those three, then you should definitely have expressions. Don't overdo it, because a speech is not a drama. So if you overdo it, it becomes a drama. But whenever necessary, you need to use your expressions. That means simple. When you want to give out an emotion, you have to make sure that your face also goes along with that. And body language, my friends, I can speak for hours and hours about it. I'm just expressing this briefly. And then the gestures, hands. Don't keep them like this. So I could have kept my hands like this or like this and spoken. It will be really super boring. And when you do this, you are creating a barrier between yourself and the audience. Don't do that. Keep open palms. They always say open palms, and use your hands effectively. Right, there's a question. Right, fine. I'm sorry. Let's save the questions for the latter part of our session, because if not, I will not be able to finish the content. So I'll take questions during the questioning and answering session. Fine. So you can use your hands to show sizes. So you can show how big, how small, how high, how low. A lot of things. Emotions. You can show agitation. You can show happiness. You can show anger. You can show determination. A lot of things with your gestures, but make sure that they are meaningful. Just don't keep your hands like this, because in the virtual platform, you are limited to a screen. Therefore, gestures are going to be very, very crucial. And, gestures can be used for many things, to show numbers, to show importance, to emphasize certain thing. All right. So you might have seen a lot of people using the hands. Great speakers. If you watch great speakers, it's a whole new subject to speak about, but make sure that next time when you speak, you use your hands effectively, but not just like a dance. You don't want to keep using it unnecessarily, right? So in some raps I have seen in these, small people, who are not professional, they just keep doing this when they rap. I don't know why they do that. I mean, you see, it's unnecessary, it's redundant, they're overdoing it. Let's not overdo it. Let's use our hands whenever it's purposeful. And the last but not least, it's the screen. How you control your screen. Now, what do I mean by controlling your screen? You can go near the screen and you can say, my friends, life is short, but it's long enough for you to live it with all your heart. So love truly, love freely, forgive quickly, and never regret the right thing, which brings a smile on your faces. So see, when you want to convey something very emotional, very touching, you can go near the camera. You can connect to them more. And you can use the sides of your speech. For example, let's say you are delivering a speech about pros and cons of the subject. So you can say, these are the pros I see, and these are the cons I see. You can use two sides. And you can use this side to say about something in the past. And then you can talk about the present. And then you can talk about the future, the screen. And to make it even better, now I'm seated and I'm delivering the speech because I have to change the slides and I can't stand for a long time. If you can stand, and then it gives you more space to move around, and you can use your screen effectively. That's what I meant by using the screen effectively. All right. So if you are doing a speech, this is a common session about public speaking, but if we go deep into speech contests or speech, then we can talk about that a lot. You can go out of the screen, you can come back, you can go behind, you can come forward. So make sure that you utilize the screen to give out that emotion, to give out the depth. You can use the depth, you can use the sides. So that is also another aspect of body language. when it comes to a stage, we say stage crafting. We move on a stage, just like that. In the screen, we can't move around, move much. And in the screen, another very important thing, make sure that you are not cut out. Any part of your body is not cut out. You can see I have some gap above my head. I have enough gap above, beside me. Sometimes I have seen speakers, their forehead, above their forehead, everything is missing. Sometimes, you get my point, right? So you have to make sure that your screen, the frame is perfect, and you can use the screen effectively whenever necessary. So these are few aspects of body language you can work on. And next, we have a very important aspect of enhancing the delivery, that is vocal variety. How you can use your voice effectively. Now, if I speak at the same tone, then most of you would have fallen asleep. So when it comes to vocal variety, the variations are very important. So I'm going to give you 4 tips today. The 4 words are going to start with letter P, so that it will be easy for you to remember. All right. So next time when you do a speech, have a think about these things. First, it's power. By power, I mean volume. So sometimes you can speak softer. You lower your voice when you want to say something sad. Sri Lanka is going through a very difficult time. Yesterday, the daily death toll went to 198. And it's the right time for us to stay safe. See, you want to say something sad, you lower your voice. You want to say something inspirational, or you want to show your anger, something like that, then you speak louder. You want to motivate the people, you want to motivate someone, you want to persuade someone to do something great, then you increase your volume. See, in a matter of few seconds, the emotions went like a roller coaster, went down and up. That's the magic you can do with the volume, with how loud you are speaking. So it has to be balanced. Now, if you keep shouting like the politicians do, it's irritating. It's irritating, isn't it? And at the same time, I don't mean to be offensive to anyone. There are places where people keep speaking at a very low, monotonous tone. So what happens is people start falling asleep. You can't get their attention. So what you have to do is you have to make sure that you have to vary. Now that comes intentionally. Now I'm doing that. When I'm speaking to you, I'm intentionally, consciously doing that, because I don't want to be monotonous. I don't want to have this same tone throughout my speech. So that's something you can work on. And then the pace. Pace means the speed. Sometimes you have to speak slowly. Now, for example, listen to me very carefully. I want you to do these 2 things. Go to the shop, talk to the shop owner, and buy 2 packets of milk. Now, when your mom wants to tell you something very important, this is how they'll speak. But sometimes when your mom wants to scold you, how many times have I told you, clean your room, the house is a mess because of you. Why don't you listen to me? Look at your shoes, look at your socks, it's everywhere, scattered everywhere. My God. You see emotions when you change your pace. Now, one part of a speech, I use this pace. I'll just demonstrate it for you. Now, it was a speech about my ex-girlfriends. Okay, they were made up, ex-girlfriends, and how each breakup taught me about emotions. I can't remember it now. Hatred, guilt, and regret. Okay, now I've gone through these breakups, and now 3rd breakup is done, and I'm in a position so bad in life. So this is how it went. I was in a position so low in my life. I could not eat, I could not sleep, I could not speak, I could not laugh, I could not smile. I was not myself anymore. This darkness was taking me into its pit and was confusing, consuming, and controlling. You see, when you vary your pace, it gives up so much of emotion. But if you keep speaking really fast, then it starts sounding like a rap. And if you speak really slow, you start sounding like a sloth. So you have to make sure that whenever it's necessary, whenever you want to show certain emotions, whenever you want to show urgency, whenever you want to show, urgency, that's the word agitation, anger sometimes, you speak faster. and other places you have to lower your, when you want to say something very important, then you have to lower your pace. Then you have to say, now, for example, the news of Corona, I want to convince people to stay safe. So that's a place where I will speak slow, because I want the audience to pay attention to every single word. Have a think about it. And next you have the pitch. The pitch is very important. Pitch is the, you can see in the diagram itself, is the fluctuations we have. Now I will use one sentence, and I will demonstrate it to you how pitch can give out different meanings. Now let's choose Dilhan as our subject, right? So Dilhan, we ask his girlfriend, right, about Dilhan. Now his girl, I don't know, I'm just taking it as an example, Dilhan, don't get me wrong. Now girlfriend is in a good mood. His girlfriend is in a good mood. So I'm asking about Dilhan, and she'll say, Dilhan is a good boy. Dilhan is a good guy, right? And Dilhan has done something wrong. Now I ask his girlfriend, what kind of guy is Dilhan? Dilhan is a good guy, no? I'm asking her. And she replies, Dilhan is a good guy. So earlier she said, Dilhan is a good guy. Now she says, Dilhan is a good guy. Right. And then I go to Dilhan's sectional head, class teacher, and I say, Madam, Dilhan is a good guy, no? Dilhan, he's a good guy. So it's a different meaning. Same sentence, Dilhan is a good guy. But when you vary the pitch, it gives out different meanings. When his girlfriend said Dilhan is a good guy, she means, yeah, he's a good guy. And when she said Dilhan is a good guy, she meant, Dilhan, is he good? He's horrible. That's what she wants to mean. It's like a question. Same sentence becomes a question. And then when you ask, Madam, Dilhan is a good guy. So out of a set of people, she wants to pick Dilhan and compare. See, that's what pitch can do. That's what pitch can do. So when you want to emphasize something, you vary your tone to give specific, special meaning you want to give. That's how pitch works. All right. So have a think about it. You also can try it with different sentences. Now, Sri Lankan team. I want Sri Lanka to win matches. I am not a guy who criticizes Sri Lanka. I never share status, but okay, fine. Since it is very common, I'll use that as an example. Sri Lanka lost the match. Sri Lanka won the match. So Sri Lanka and India are playing. And I slept early. Next day I wake up and my dad says Sri Lanka won the match. Sri Lanka won the match. So that's a different meaning. And then there's a tournament. I didn't even watch it. And then finally someone comes and tells me Sri Lanka won the tournament. And I say, Sri Lanka won the tournament. Or Sri Lanka won the match. See, different meanings. Same sentence, different meanings. Pitch. You vary the pitch. With the same set of words, you can give different meanings. And next, pause. This is a very, very powerful tool, my friends. This is a tool which is taken for granted, underestimated so much. I personally struggle with this. Whenever I do a speech, most of the times, this is the recommendation I get. Have pauses. So whenever you say something powerful, something emotional, you have to give that time to the audience to let that thought sink in. That's when the pause comes, the silence. The golden silence. That doesn't mean you have to pause every now and then. Whenever there is a very important part of your speech, that pause is very important because that gives time for the audience to think. Sometimes it might take, I don't know how many of you have watched the cartoon Ratatouille. So this critic, he eats that food and he pauses and then he goes back in time. That's what exactly happens when you deliver a speech, when you tell something very emotional. Right? See, I spoke about my, breakups or something like that, and then I explain how my feelings were, how desperate I were, how miserable I felt, and then I let a pause. Then there will be guys who can relate to their life, and they will just go back in time and think about hatred, guilt, regret. So pause is something very important. Use it like that. Okay, but don't extend it. Don't use it unnecessarily. Wherever it's necessary, pause is a very, very powerful tool. So it's easy for you to remember power, pace, pitch, pause. This is also another area where we can speak for hours, but I just taken 5 to 10 minutes and explained it to you. So next time when you speak, have a think about it. Now, when you combine two, now you increase the power, you increase the pace, it will give a different emotion. You lower the pace, you lower the power, combine them, it gives a different emotion. It's so wonderful. And you change, you increase the pace, you lower the power, it gives a different emotion. You increase the power, you lower the pace, it gives a different emotion. It's so wonderful. Such a beautiful art you can study and you can master. Right? So volume, how loud you speak, how fast you speak, how you change your tone, how you change your modulation, and how you use silence effectively. This will enhance your vocal variety. And then the last point we want to discuss is how to reduce vocal distractions. Now, what are vocal distractions? Let me explain them to you. Vocal distractions are the words we use to fill the gaps. So they are also called filler words. These are some examples of filler words. Now, when someone asks you a question, did you do your homework? No, madam. See that and now is the most commonly used filler word, because when we speak, sometimes we are stuck. When we get stuck, we say, I went to school on that day and sir was absent, and we went to ground and we played. Then we got caught to principal. See. So when you don't have anything to say, we unintentionally, without knowing, we say that's the most common word. And so, my God, even I use this. It is used quite unnecessarily, because when sometimes you go to a class or you go to a place, you say, so what's going on? I mean, we always say the word so. Even I use that. It's very difficult to overcome. So, because for everything we say so. So means you have to say something, and so this something must have happened. Because of that, something happens. So that's how so works as a bridge. But unfortunately, most of the times we use so without a purpose. That's when it becomes a filler. And then Now, I hope most of you here watch cricket. Now, if Virat Kohli, now I just used the word now. See, that is also a filler word. Something we should avoid. When he speaks, he always says, we worked hard. Our guys have been working hard, but we need to show more intent in the field. We need to apply ourselves more, and IPL is coming up and the guys are working hard and they are getting used to the English conditions, You listen to Virat Kohli speaking again. No offense to Virat Kohli or any other great cricketers. This is something, if you are someone who is trying to imitate your role models, like these great cricketers, this is something you should not even. I have seen Mahela using this word, but right, I don't want to put anyone down. I don't want to be offensive, but this is what I'm trying to tell you here is even great speakers struggle with filler words like this. So this is something we have to avoid. We have to try our best to avoid, because when there are lots of then it reduces the value of our speech. You listen to other commentators, you listen to Mark Nicholas, you listen to Harsha Bogle. My God, they are so flawless. And just check how many filler words they have. Very rare. I learned a lot from English commentary, especially people like Mark Nicholas. See, I'm using Mark Nicholas. People like Alan Wilkinson, Tony Craig. We all love Tony Craig. There are a lot of great commentators like Sangakkara now, a new emerging commentator from Sri Lanka. You can learn a lot of English from them. The way they speak, the way they modulate their voice, the way they show excitement, those things. I personally learned a lot from cricket commentary. I'm not myself. I'm imitating a lot of great speakers. That's what we all have to do. I don't come from an English speaking background. I didn't study in English medium. At our home, we don't speak in English. At our school, we never spoke in English. It came from practice. And then, I went home, right? We were doing the group project together, right? You always say that, after watching these Indian movies and all, it comes to us naturally, right? All the time. And that is also another filler word. Now, how do we get rid of that? So these are a few solutions I have for you. record yourself. You just try speaking something unprepared, impromptu. Just think of something and you speak. You speak freely. You turn it on and you speak freely. You record. And then you will notice, now I don't know what filler words I have. If I get the recording from Dilhan or someone from Candy Rotaract, then I will be able to watch that and check and get to know what filler words I'm using more often. So first we need to identify the types of filler words we use, and then we need to consciously try to avoid those filler words. At the beginning when I speak, I used to use a lot of, but now whenever I want to take a break, I use that pause effectively. Whenever you don't have something to say, you can pause a little for 1 or 2 seconds. It's all right. And then you go to the next point. This again, my friends, needs a lot of practice. It doesn't happen overnight. You need to do more speeches. You need to get to know where you can improve, and then you will improve. All right. Again, the best solution I have for you is Toastmasters, because in every Toastmasters meeting, we have a person to count these filler words one by one. We call that person the R counter. And every time we get to know what filler words we use. They will exactly say which filler word we use. Now, again, I'm not promoting Toastmasters. I need to give you proper solutions, right? So that's what we do at our club, at Toastmasters Club. We give special attention to these vocal distractions, because I believe if you use these filler words too much, that definitely reduces the value of your speech. So have a think about it. Record yourself, identify the filler words, and then you can think of replacements. All right. So my friends, this is a summary of what we discussed today. We had 5 main points to cover. The first one was the best practices for virtual communication, how you have to prepare yourself, how you have to prepare your equipment and everything. And then we discussed how to overcome anxiety when it comes to public speaking. We all have the fear when it comes to public speaking. It has 2 sides to it. One is the physical anxiety and the other one is the psychological one. Physical anxiety, it comes with fluency, how good you are in English. For that, you need to improve your language. And I gave you some tips. And nowadays, you have these apps which you can use and improve your language. Watch, listen to speeches. Now, I wanted to say this. How did you learn Tamil and Sinhala? Our mother tongue. How did we do that? When we were babies, we listened, didn't we? We were listening first. We did listen, and then we spoke. We spoke our first few words, and then we wrote, and then only we read. Can you remember? In grade 1, what do? You write Ayana, you write Anna, you write ABC. Then only you start reading A for apple, B for ball, C for cat. But in English, we are doing that in the exact opposite order. We read first, we write second, and then we speak, and then we listen, and then only we speak. I mean, it's the exact opposite order. We very rarely speak in English, but think of your mother tongue. You learned it by speaking. So the purpose of today's session is about how to speak English in public. But this can be applied for other languages too when it comes to the psychological side of it. But physical side of it, the fluency part, we have to work on that. You have to keep speaking. Find a place where you can speak more. A Toastmasters club, or I heard that in Rotaract Club you have your meetings in English. Pretty awesome, very good. Create platforms, create arenas where you can use your language. That's the problem we have. We don't have places where we can speak English. At your office, at your workplace, at your schools, at your universities, whenever you get an opportunity to speak in English, do not miss that. Please, with your lecturers, with your friends, I don't know, and don't think that more English kata karna, muna maha pandit. Don't think of what people will think about you. Don't worry about what others are going to think about you. If you really are passionate about improving this language, you have to you have to have a strong stance, strong stand on it, and you have to work on it. It's just a language. It's a beautiful language. It doesn't mean that we are going to put our languages down. We love our language. I will always say Tamil is my mother tongue. Dilhan will always say Sinhala is his mother tongue. This is just another language. Just let's treat it with respect and learn it. And if you want to improve your psychological side of it, some of you might have learned at international schools, but when it comes to public speaking, still you might be struggling. And that comes with the psychological aspects of it. Anxiety, fear. For that, you have to put yourself in a place in front of people who are very supportive to you, who are ready to listen to you, who are ready to notice your mistakes and explain about them in a very positive and motivating way, where you will be motivated to correct them and appear on the stage again. One such place, great place for you to improve yourself is Toastmasters. And then to retain the audience attention, you can tell stories, connect with them. You can ask questions. You can ask them to turn on their cameras and every now and then try to crack a joke without offending anyone. And then the body language and the vocal variety. When it comes to delivery, you might have the best speech in the world written, but delivery. Now, when we in a speech contest, 50 marks for delivery, 30 marks, 30% of points is allocated for vocal variety, body language. And like I said earlier, when you deliver a speech, you speak with your mouth only 25%. The rest is your body that speaks, your hands, your eyes, your face. Have a think about it. And vocal variety, I explain you 4 P's you can remember: power, pace, pitch, and pause. You mix them up, you increase them, you decrease them, and the magic happens. You can create different emotions. And vocal distractions, the filler words, you knows, the so's. Record yourself, see what filler words you have, you've used frequently, and try to replace them consciously when you speak next time. And for all these things, another P I want to add for the vocal variety is practice. That is the biggest P I want to tell you today. Practice, practice, practice. As many times as even a champion speaker, even the world champion, practices his or her speech 100 times. Sometimes some people practice it 200, 300 times. They are sure about winning sometimes, but still they practice. That's the amount of effort it takes to master this great art of public speaking. All right. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Now I will be gladly accepting few questions from you. As time permits, I don't know whether I have gone beyond time. I'm extremely sorry about that. Ilhan, we can open the floor for the questions.
Yes, no issues with time, Asira. We can take about half an hour more. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions,
Okay.
please feel free to unmute and deliver your questions to our resource person, Mohammed Yasir. He'll be more than thrilled to answer your questions. If not, you can still use the chat box option. Yes.
Yeah. So Hanan asks about the app. What apps you were referring to boost the fluency? One app I know of is Ori, O-R. I'll just drop that in the text for you. This is a recommendation I got in the recent times, and you can just Google and see the review. Go to App Store or Play Store, and you can go through the apps and you can go through reviews and see how people have responded to it. And there are many apps which you can use. This is one of the apps. Honestly speaking, I haven't used it much yet, but for beginners, I believe this is a wonderful app where you can speak and get feedback. And then it's Leshan. I hope I am pronouncing her name correctly. Do accents really work in public speaking? I wanted to touch upon this, but due to time constraints, I had to skip it. We're talking about accents. A very important question. Thank you very much, Leshan. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Now, accents. Different people in the world speak English differently. Now, if you take an Irish person, let's say there's an Irish commentary going on, right? Because Ireland is playing cricket now, and it's a very beautiful accent. I love that accent. They speak like this. It is a wonderful delivery, and the batsman played the delivery very well. Sweet timing and boundary. That's how they speak English, the Irish people. And if you watch a British movie like a Game of Thrones, we all love Game of Thrones. England, people from England, what do they speak? It's a wonderful delivery, and it's little similar to Ireland, but Ireland is little too thick. People speak differently. Now, if you take a Russian, you know, I am a Vladimir and I'm going to come and kill you. I am a terrorist. So that's how they speak. And Indian, they speak it differently. And Jamaican, you know how they rap and, oh, my man, how are you, my man? How are you, my man? So that's how they speak. They don't care about their accent. If you take Spanish people, I told you, why are you not listening to me? You are such an idiot. Oh, come on, what are you doing? You know, Zorro, you know, that's how they speak. And Italians, they speak differently. The French, they, it was great food. It was great food. That's how the French speak. These are great nations, but they have different ways of speaking English. So you don't have to try to become someone else. We are Sri Lankans. We have our own way of speaking English, but there is a line to that. Now, there are certain places where we have to really work, put an effort. Now, for example, the way we pronounce certain words. Now, I'm not an expert in English language, but for example, if you say the word love, it's not love, it's love, correct? So there are certain areas where we can work on our pronunciation, but it doesn't mean that we want to, we have to speak like the foreigners. Now, when people from England speak, especially Scotland, Liverpool or Newcastle, they have a very thick accent. Even English speaking, you know, people can't understand what they're saying. They speak inside their mouth. I mean, I tell you, didn't I tell you, I came with the bar, I drank a beer. That's how the Scottish people speak. It's very difficult. I don't know how many of you have watched this movie called Snatch. Brad Pitt uses that accent. It's different. It's beautiful. It's different. And Germans, they have a very different accent. Now, Germans, they speak. So you don't worry about the accents. You be yourself. You be Sri Lankan. You just be yourself. But if you can improve your accent, now, for example, I have changed my accent, honestly speaking. I have changed my accent. Now, I am not speaking the way I used to speak when I was at school. That comes with practice. You start watching cricket. You start listening to commentaries. Now, you start listening to Sangakkara. You start listening to Mark Nicholas, people like that. Now, I'm using the word Mark Nicholas over and over again. You just YouTube it and listen to his commentary. So beautiful, so flawless. We automatically, unknowingly, we try to speak like them. Now, I love certain TV series. Now, for example, I used to watch Big Bang Theory. I used to watch Suits, a wonderful series. So sometimes people have told me that I speak like that guy because, you know, you watch these things, you listen to those things, and they unknowingly they get embedded in you. So that's what I'm telling you. You have to expose yourself to environments like that if you want to improve your English. You watch meaningful videos, TED Talks, right? So you will, when you keep listening to them, automatically you will start speaking like them. But it doesn't mean that you have to try to exactly speak like them, but the pronunciations, the words they use, small things, the areas, you can work on that. So that was the question from Leshan, and I hope, Leshan, I answered your question. And Leshan, in Sri Lankan context, let's say I try to speak like an American. I try to speak like an English person, a British person. And in the audience, there are 50 people. If 40 of them don't understand what I'm saying, there's no point in that, isn't it? So it depends on the audience as well. So let's not try to overdo accents. Let's brush up our English by giving proper attention to improve the pronunciations, the word, the vocabulary, and everything. I hope I answered your question. Right. Any other questions?
There was one question that was sent to us through the chat box during the presentation. If we can
yes.
to that.
What was that? That was a long question. Let's see. All right. What if we maintain a standing posture in a form of gratitude to our audience and present the speech? Is it effective? Because sitting posture is a bit inappropriate. Exactly. Very good question, that one. So that question comes from Akila. I see GZC. I don't know what that means, but Akila, thank you very much for that question. Right. Now, talking about postures. Absolutely, I absolutely agree with you on that. But the reason why I'm delivering this speech today seated, because of my comfort, and because I think this is effective for today's context. But if you're going to deliver a speech in front of an audience in person, physically, then you, of course, you can't sit. You have to stand and deliver. And yes, just like you said, if you want to show gratitude, then it's more honorable if you stand and speak. And that's something we need to do. So for that, you need to place your camera somewhere at a higher elevation, and then you need to dress well, and you need to make sure that above your waist maybe it's visible, and then you speak. And now stage usage is something we have to be very careful about. Now there are instances where we will be asked to deliver a speech behind the podium, and then we will have to stay behind the podium without moving here and there, and we have to deliver a speech. Now you might have seen people who do announcements, they don't move anywhere, and that is also considered as a great skill. Now there was this president called Ronald Reagan in US. He would just stay put like a statue, and he would speak, and he is regarded as one of the greatest orators the world has seen because of that calm, composed posture he has. That is the, for me, if I stand behind the podium, I'll be moving around. It's like we have so much energy and so much anxiety to cope with. We keep moving unknowingly. So keeping still and speaking at certain instances, it's also very important. Right? I hope I answered your question. Was that Akila? I would like to join with the Toastmasters Club. Okay, fine. I repeat myself. This was not a promotion for Toastmasters, but I just wanted to share my experience with you because that is the place where I personally grew. 10 years back, if someone was going to tell me, Yasir, you are going to deliver a session like this for Candy Rotaract Club, I would have told that person, "Are you crazy? How is that going to happen?" But see the transformation. That happened because of I started at Gavel Club at University of Moratuwa, and then I joined Toastmasters, and it was different. That's why I mentioned that over and over again. And yes, please do contact me if you want to get in touch with a Toastmasters Club, because it's the need of the hour. Nowadays, when you go to a job, it's not about the number of certificates you have. It's not about the degree you have. It's about emotional intelligence. It's about interpersonal skills. It's about how you present yourself. It's about how you can convince someone. It's about how you can market a product. For that, the personality matters. I can remember an interview of Jackson Anthony. Now, I don't want to offend anyone. He says in that interview, he says, now, a kid who goes from international school, he or she has the personality. So whether they have the educational qualifications or not, they get the job because the way they present themselves, because they're very confident with their language, and they're exposed. But unfortunately, kids like me who are coming from a non-speaking English background, if we don't have the skills, if we have not elevated our personalities or our skill levels to be precise, then we will be struggling when we go out to the society. So that's what I have to tell you. Public speaking, don't take it for granted. We are always backwards when it comes to public speaking. Normally it's like that. But now I hope most of you are professionals. I hope most of you are university kids. It's going to make a big change in your life if you master the public speaking art, people. Now, for example, I can remember when I was a young undergraduate, the groups where I was a part of, not only me, there were other great speakers in our batch. Groups where I was a part of, we always scored well during group work. Why? After a project, we have to deliver a presentation. So there, it finally came to the delivery, not just the technical details, because every one of us was studying engineering, we knew the technicalities. It was about promoting our product or promoting our project proposal. And there, this skill made a great impact. Now we call it Gavel Club. Gavel means that hammer the judge has in his or her hand. So when the gavel is banged on the table, silence. Gavel means authority. And that's why it is named Gavel Club. Public speaking means power. Public speaking means authority. It's difficult, but if you put an effort and master this art, it can take you to places you haven't even imagined in your life. And one thing you can do is, now you see a lot of people do these videos. They take their phones and speak to that and try to prepare a video, and they put on Facebook. You also try that. You don't have to post everything on Facebook, but you do it with yourself. Now, for example, try it if you want to improve your fluency. Let's say you want to speak about Corona and you want to create awareness among the public. You don't have to post it on Facebook. Just think of that scenario in your head. Take your phone, turn on your front camera, you speak to the phone and you watch, and then you see, okay, these areas I think I can improve. These are the filler words I'm using. At this place, I feel like I can improve my emotions. Be your own evaluator. Do your self-evaluation, because nowadays technology has grown so much. It will be a shame. It will be a big, what do you call that? You'll be missing a lot if you don't attempt in this journey. Okay, fine. Any other questions? I keep speaking to myself. Any other questions? Please feel free to ask any questions. Don't.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, please go ahead.
So you said that you are not an English medium student. So how did you improve your English? Can I know that?
Right, fantastic. Okay, that was Ashfaq. Thank you very much. Let's give him a big round of applause. The first person to unmute and speak, Dilhan, of course, he was unmuting and speaking because he was the organizer. And yeah, apart from Dilhan, this is the first guy to unmute and speak. Well done, Ashfaq. Now he's asking me, I didn't study in English medium, but how did I improve my English? Few answers to you, Ashfaq. I'm going to tell you a quick story. When I was doing O-level, I was doing English literature. Okay, and the results of the previous batch was released. Then a teacher came and told me, Puta, don't do English literature, drop it and change your subject, because every kid who did English literature has got an SOW. Because you are not going to get an A, so you can't go for 10 A's. Those days we had 10 A's. But I said, no, I want to do English literature because I want to improve myself. I did literature and I got an A. That's a different story. So first thing is the desire. When you want to succeed in something, you should have 5 D's. Number 1 is desire. You should like it, the passion. Whether I could speak English fluently or not, I loved English. I wanted to speak English. I wanted to improve myself. I had that hunger, the thirst in me. I was always intimidated. The word intimidated means when you see, someone who is posh speaking, you're like, we are taken back. How is he speaking? It's like watching an English movie without subtitles. We feel like that. I felt like that when I went to Gavel Club first time. But you don't let it put you down. You don't let it control you. You don't let it consume you. You keep going. So that's what I did. First, you have to create a passion towards English. You have to love English. You have to like English. And you want to have this determination. Next D, determination. You have to tell yourself, okay, I don't come from an English speaking background. That's fine, but I'm going to grow. I'm going to improve something. And then designing. Designing means you have to have a plan. You have to have a strategy. So that strategy was, I used to speak in English whenever I can. So when I go out, when I meet an English teacher, I used to speak in English with them. And the problem we have is sometimes these days it has reduced. Those days people think that when we speak in English, I don't know what others will. People have that notion, but I didn't care about that at all. Whenever I had an opportunity, I spoke in English with my lecturers, with my teachers, with my relatives. Some relatives, they speak in English. I spoke with them, but it was rarely I got those opportunities. And then when I watched cricket, I listened to the commentary. Now, I tell my brother also this. I tell my brother, hey, don't watch the match. Just don't watch the match. Listen to the commentary. Look at the words they are using. I learned a lot of words in English. I learned how to express myself, how to vary the pitch through commentary. That's something I did. Listening. You listen. And when you watch a movie or a TV series, don't just watch the action part of that. Don't just watch the romance of that. Don't just watch the comedy of that. See the way they speak. See the way they ask questions. See the way they use body language. It's not, you don't have to be too technical. I hope you can understand what I'm saying. See the way they break the words, they break the sentences when they speak. and all those things. And speak. I went to Gavel Club. Whenever I can remember, we have this orientation program at university. There were around 250 kids, and madam came in front, orientation, the introduction session. She wanted someone to come in front and speak. Just something, anything you want. No one was going. I'm talking about the cream of the country, the best kids in the country. No one was winning because they all had the anxiety. Okay, not to put anyone up. I went in front and I spoke. I was not the best speaker in that hall, I'm pretty sure. I took that opportunity because I wanted to I wanted to explore the opportunities. I wanted to expand my comfort zone. So we all are stuck into a comfort zone. We all are scared now. We all are scared of making mistakes. I went to university. I took part in a speech contest. Okay, I directly went and took part in a speech contest. Believe me or not, I could only speak for 1 minute. I was supposed to speak for 6 minutes. I could speak for only 1 minute, then the words won't come out. Words won't come out. Oh, I forgot the speech. And then the judge was like, speak. She was like that. I couldn't speak. They gave me a milk packet, drank it. All the pretty girls were there, embarrassed. But did I stop going back? No. Next year also I competed. And I got the 2nd place. Year after that also I competed, got the 3rd place. And final year only I won that speech contest. So my point is, keep grabbing opportunities, Ashfaq. Keep grabbing opportunities. Whenever you have an opportunity to speak in English, try to put yourself in challenging environments, because that's where you grow. Now, you play cricket. If you are playing in your village, you are with your boys your age, you will always be facing them, same speed, same spin. You know how to read their ball. You know how to hit sixes in everything. But you go and play with some elder brothers. You go and play. Then the bounce is different, the pace is different. But you face them, then you improve. Then you can hit them for sixes as well. And when you ball, it's the same. Language is also like that. You put yourself in more challenging places, then you will grow. Why don't you try Toastmasters Club, man? Just drop me a text. We'll do something good. Right? I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much.
And please don't call me sir. I'm not a sir. Just call me or something like that. Let's keep it informal, please. Anyone else? I think it's 8:45 now. I can drop my contact number or my WhatsApp. If you want, you can. If you want to know anything else, please feel free to contact me. Whenever I'm free, I will be available. And anything regarding public speaking, anything regarding speech, because I come from a humble background. I come from humble beginnings, and I want to help people. I want to share. So I'm always open to this, and don't have second thoughts about public speaking. Go explore. This world is for grabs. The whole world will be for your grabs, and don't be intimidated by English. It's just a language. We Sri Lankans, we are a great, powerful nation. We have conquered a lot of things. Talking about us, the people, the country, we have a great heritage. We have done great things in the past. So we have that blood. We will be able to conquer anything, man. All right, that's all from me.
Excuse me, sir.
Back to you. Yeah.
Sir, may I ask a question?
Yeah.
Sir, while public speaking or while delivering a speech, if you suddenly go out of words, what should you do? So what can we do?
Right. So that is another very important question. That's a question which we are all ready for, right? Fine. Now, Rushma, she called me sir because she's one of my students, my physics students. Now, that can happen. Like I said, during my first speech contest, I went out of words. It can happen. Now, that comes with experience. Now, at Toastmasters Club, we have a session called table topic session where we get a topic. Then and there, we have to speak for 2 minutes. At the beginning, I could not even speak for 30 seconds. I think Dilhan will also share this experience. She must be sharing the same experience. But now, I go over time most of the times. I speak for more than 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I speak for 3 minutes. So at the beginning, it will be natural that sometimes we'll be running out of words. Now that comes with practice and with experience. And for that, right, very good question, Rushma. Content. For that, we have to read a lot. We have to read a lot. When we watch something, we have to note down the important things in our head. That's what I do most of the times. When I hear a nice quote, I record it in my brain. Now, that speech about hatred, guilt, and regret, that speech about hatred, guilt, and regret, it was built on one single quote. To apologize is the bravest. To forgive is the strongest. And to forget is the happiest. When I heard that quote, I recorded that in my mind. I never forget it. And using just that quote, I created 3 stories and developed the speech. So that's something we all can do. Whenever we come across something inspirational, something motivational, something beautiful, something which with a lot of value, take a notebook, have a notebook with you, write it down. In your phone, you have the notepad, just quickly type it, copy and paste it. Read a lot, and that's how you improve your content. And during when that happens, you will not run out of time. Okay, give me 1 more minute. And another way of avoiding that is using personal stories. Now, when you get a topic, when you do an impromptu, especially when we run out of words, when we do an impromptu speech, that's because we run out of words because we don't know what to speak next. But if you use a story in your speech, you know what you're exactly going to say, because you're going to share your personal experience. You know where the story starts, you know what happened during the story, and you know where the story is going to end. So the flow is there. The flow is there, right? Or try this next time. You describe an incident. You describe an incident. What happened before that incident? What happened after that incident? And then try doing the speech with it. You will not get stuck anywhere. You will be able to perfectly structure your speech. And that's how you do impromptu speeches. When someone gives you a topic, look at the topic, think about it, take few seconds, and think of a story which you can relate to that. Perfect. Then you can talk about what happened before that incident. What is the incident? Then the results of that incident. That way you can develop the content, right? Good question, Rushma. So the advice I have for you is read a lot, gather beautiful words, beautiful quotes, and try using more personal stories in your speeches. That way I think you can overcome that barrier.
Okay, so thank you.
Super. Anyone else? Okay, then I think it's 8:50 already. Most of you must be hungry now. Right, let's end the session here because food is important than public speaking, guys. And yeah, I'll be ending my part here. It was wonderful to be here with you all. And thank you very much for attending, because audience, that's the energy. We draw energy from the audience and we deliver. There were around 70 at one point. And fantastic. And Bilhan, once again, Bilhan and the organizing team, thank you very much for having the confidence in me. Thank you very much for this opportunity. This is how we thrive as Toastmasters. When we do things we have not done before, that is how we go. Thank you very much once again. And we'll be always available to collaborate with you guys anytime. Right, over to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And we were so glad and so privileged to have you here as a resource person as well. We learned quite a great deal. And thank you to all of the members and people who joined today, especially to our resource person, Mohammed Yasir, for carving out all this time from your busy schedule just for us. And that level of dedication just cannot go unappreciated. Therefore, I'd like to invite the Assistant Secretary and Joint Editor of the Rotaract Club of Kandy, Shazmina Jawahir, to deliver the vote of thanks and to bring this amazing session to a close. Protractor Shazmina Jawahir, over to you.
Thank you, Dilhan. Am I audible here?
Yes, you are.
Okay. So, hello, everyone. It gives me a great pleasure to deliver the vote of thanks on behalf of the Rotaract Club of Kandy about this event to all of you. So first and foremost, thank you to Toastmaster Mohammed Yasir, Area Director for District 82 Toastmasters and past President of Hill Capital Toastmasters Club. Thank you so much for doing such an interactive, informative, and also a very interesting session for us. With the current situation in the country, in the world, I think this topic is very timely, and it's very important that we all are best at it, because all of us are going through some kind of virtual public speaking every day. So I think this was an amazing session. Let it be the technical side of it that we learned, or the strategies that we learned today. So I think that will make us improve our virtual public speaking much more. So thank you so much for that. And also thank you to all our participants who joined us today. To make this event a great success. So thank you, everyone. This is a small appreciation from the Rotary Club of Kandy for making it amongst your busy schedule. So thank you so much, and a very good night to everyone. Stay safe.